朋友们好，
Hello everyone.
今天咱们讲的关于灵魂的问题哈，你们两个觉得一听这个有点兴奋感吗哈？
Do you feel excited about the topic we'll discuss today? Actually,
对，
because
有什
the
么样的问
Ulabanan
题呢？
Festival is
也可以提
arriving.
哈。大家所有的网友朋友呢，如果你有相关的问题哈，你赶快写出来啊。
If you have
发送
related
出来，
questions,
顺
please
便帮你
write
讲
to
一讲
us.
啊。
Maybe we'll be able to incorporate into
对，我
today's
们
live
在
feed.
讲这个内容的时候呢，就其实先有一个人啊，就是在问我呢，
Actually,
他说
someone
这
asked me
个
a question
祖先的埋葬问题
about the ancestors,
或者是祖先和后代
about
的
ancestors'
这个
grave,
人际关系的
and
问题
also
哈
what is
它
the
的一
relationship
些
between
好坏
ancestors and
那有的
descendants.
吧，和这个爷爷奶奶和父母亲或者关系就不太好。
So if the
那这
relationship
样
is
的
not
话，
too
如果
good,
不进
would
行
it
处理的
impact the
话，
descendants?
会不会影响到他自己，影响到后代，或者
And
影响到
if the
再后一
ancestors'
代，
grave
或者是
has
更
been
长远的？
neglected or there are some issues
对，
related to that,
那
will cause the
也
descendants
就
to
是
suffer.
说，我们看似一个哪怕是无人问津，没有人管、没人理的一个祖坟
Even
啊，
we talk about an
它和我们有没有
ancestral
关系呢？
grave that has been neglected,
其实今天我们
is
准
it
备了
still
很多
related
相
to
关的
us?
故事
We have many
啊。在
related
讲故事
stories
之前
today.
呢，那我的经验就是一定有关系。
Before the start of the story,
所
I
以，
just want to share with you my
你们
thoughts
应该
that they are
听说
definitely
过的，
related.
比如说风水。
For example, 风水.
风水通常是指阳宅，
Usually, 风
阳
水we
宅呢
talk
就是
about
我
the
们
house
现在
that we
住的
live,
房子，
of the
和现
livings,
在进行办公的场所，
maybe the place that we live,
还有个
maybe our
阴宅风
office.
水。就大家就理
Then
解了
there's
哈。
also the inn
那阴宅
风
风水
水
呢，
the
其
inn
实是
housing.
指坟
So what
里
is it
坟
related
墓
to?
的
It's
所
actually
住的地
related
点。
to our
那
ancestors.
它的风水好坏，
So whether
其
the
实你看
grave has
去
a good
世的
feng shui
人，
positions,
也就
it
是
will
我们的
affect
父
the
母和祖
descendants in the
先
future.
将来就是长眠在那个地方的坟墓哈，这个地方的风水好坏，都会对我们后
So
代
the feng
有
shui
绝
of
对
the
的影
grave,
响。
whether it's good or bad,
因
it
此
will
呢，
has a direct
很多
impact
地
on
区
the
的人呢，
descendants.
花很高的价钱，
That's why a lot of
实
people
现了
spend
找
a
寻
lot
高
of
人指
money
导哈，
to
找
seek
到一个
those masters,
风
feng shui
水宝
masters,
地
to help them to
啊。因为人
identify
说，
a
他家那
good
个风水
spot.
好，所以他后人就很厉害，发财呀，
So
做
maybe
高官
because
呐
the grave is
啊，
positioned
甚
in
至
a
是
very good
你
feng
看
shui
在这个
place,
台湾
and
这个
that's why
总
the
统选举的
descendants
时
are
候，
able
总
to
是说有
prosperous.
些那个总统候选人哈，他们花了
Even
很
in
多钱
Taiwan,
去处理
the
好自己的这
presidential
个
candidates,
阴宅风水。
they spend a lot of money
所以这
to
个
to
信不
get their
信是我
ancestors'
们
grave
去接下来
to
要学
adjust
习
the
的
feng
问题
shui of
哈，
the ancestors'
但是我
grave.
觉得是有关联的。
If you ask me,
对，
I
一
think
个
it's
是
related.
埋进坟墓这个祖坟当中的祖先亲人们，他和我们直接后代的关联和关系的好坏，对我们
Because
后
whether
人
the
都会
ancestral
有影
grave
响。
is in a good feng shui
第
position,
二个
it has direct
还是
impact
说
on the
这个
descendants.
风水
And secondly,
这个阴宅的风水的好坏，那对我们后人呢，也是有影响。
the
因为
grave,
这
the
两种关
positions of
系
the
有一
grave
个
or
出
the
了
feng
问
shui of the
题，
grave,
比
whether
如
is it
说
good or bad,
比如说
it
风
will
水好，
affect our
可是
descendants.
这个那躺在里面的人和现在活着的后代关系不好，所以好风水你也得不了好。因为你
But if the
祖上
relationships
会讨厌
between
你，
the ancestors and
甚至
descendants is
都
not
有
good,
惩罚你、
although it may
报
be
仇的心
positioned
的
in a
话，
good feng shui
就
place,
算是有机
the
会发财，
descendants will
我
not
们
be
这个
able
财
to
呢也
receive
守不
the
住
good fortunes
啊。
or the
所以我们
blessings.
研究过
For example,
很
maybe
多
there are
古
some
代
good
帝王
fortunes,
和一
but they are
些
not able to receive the good
很
fortunes.
高贵人家的这个阴宅哈，
For those who are
还
into
确
the
实是有一些
noble
说法。
family, they are
对，
actually have
那
good
今
feng
天呢，我
shui
们就不
and they
讲
have good
那么深啊，
relationships.
我们今天讲一些案例。
So today we're going to
那
talk
你
about a
们在
series
一
of
周
true
前
stories
哈，
that happens to
一
people
礼拜之
around
前，
us. About a
我
week
呢
ago,
就去在一个海边呢，就和一些行人呢去做结缘，
I had a
就
chance to
看
meet
看
some
有没有
people by
缘
the
分，
sea, by the
给
seaside,
他看看他的问题。
and try to see what are
其
the
中一
questions
位
that they may have.
40多岁的先生哈，
And a man in his
就带他
40s
太太呢
came for a
过来这里
consultations
啊。
together with his wife.
这先生呢长得相貌还不错哈，
Actually, he had a very dignified appearance.
挺大大方方的，
Yes,
对，还是不
indeed.
错的，
Pretty good
对，
dignified appearance.
他 有一个关键的问题是，
对，他刚
He
来
has
的
a
时候
critical
是我先接
questions.
待的他哈，师傅。
是，
然
So
后
when he
他呢就
came,
问我说：“你
he
帮我看一看，我从今
he
天起
asked me.
往后我的人
He
生
asked what
命
is
运
his
会
life
如
going to
何？”
be, his future destinies
他
from
问了
that
这么一个
day
问题，我
on
当时
onwards.
也是
When he
有一
asked
点
such a
就是
question,
愣住了哈，
I was
因
a
为
bit
一般人
shocked
来问都是一个具体的问题，
because most of the
就
time
是
people
我要
ask
问
us
一下找
specific
什么工作
questions,
呀，
whether I should get
或
a
者我的姻
jobs,
缘
which
怎么样，
jobs,
很少有人会问
or
这么
whether I have a
广
good
泛的。
relationship.
或者是我最近的运
Nobody
气
asks
如何
about the
对，
future
还问了
destiny.
说，好像之后下半生的
没
And I
错，
remember
运
he
气的感
asked
觉。
what is his luck
提问这
going
种问题
forward
的
in
人
the
也是
next
第一次
half
遇
of
到。
his
第一
life.
次遇到，我当
所以呢，
时就
This
太
is the
难了，我
first
就
time
请
that
师傅
we
了，我
encounter
就
that.
请师傅出来，我说：“请你
Yes,
师傅
and
帮
that's
我
why
看
I
一
said
看。”
Master's help
对，
to
对，
help
然后师
him,
傅就帮着他看了看。
and Master helped to
那我帮他
guide
看
him
的时候
along
呢，因为我们都是晚上啊，
because it
我
was
们
actually
晚上
in
休息
late
时
at
间
night when we are
去看，
resting
其
that
实也
we
确实不如白天看得清楚。哎，
we
但
help him,
整体上
but
啊，
at
我们
night it's not so easy to
啊，
see
我们
compared
讲
to
的就是你这
daytime.
个初步结缘，就我
But
的心
in
态啊，
general,
和在外面和人结缘呐，看个相、看的命运的时候，
when I help to
啊，
look
我
at
先
people's
本着一个
facial
心态就
features,
是初步结缘，尽量说好话。
my
就
objective
算
is
这
try
人
to
倒
say
霉明
good
天就死，
things.
你也不能说你明天死。如
Even
果
though the
我
person
现在被
may
打死了
supposed
哈，
to
那
have
他
bad
还
lucks
死，
and may die the
可是
next
他
day,
大家
you
心
cannot
里
be
每
so
个人都希望
direct
说在你
because
身上
everyone,
做
when they're
好，
here, when they try
对吧？
to
其实我们自
approach
己
me
想
for
心里面真
consultations,
是希望
they
说，
want to
看
hear
我
some
多好啊，
positive
多有
things,
福啊，多有
whether
气
they
质啊，
have
什么等等，
good
就是希
fortunes
望
or
说些
whether
好
they are
话。
more
哎，
dignified
这个概念
lookings.
呢，我心里也是有。
I know that that's
一
what
开始我就说，
people
哎，挺好的。
intentions when they approach me for
他就很严肃，
consultations.
他也不像。哎，还是问你那句话哈，就是你看看我今后的我的运
So
气
his focus
怎么
is
样？
he likes to know about his
那
future
这么
destiny.
严肃，这个弄得我也就
It's
不
a
理
very
那
serious
我也严肃
question.
一下来看看吧。
So I took
哎，
it very seriously
那
as
我
well.
仔细端详，睁开火眼金
So
睛，
after studying his
一
facial
看，
features,
就不得了。
I was
我就
shocked
问，我
and
说
asked him,
你这2、3年
have
当
you
中，
experienced
你发生了一些
a lot of
不好的事吧？
unfortunate events over the
他一
past
愣，
2 or 3 years?
确实是。
Well, he
比如说
replied,
我那个股
actually,
票之类的
indeed,
啊，这10多年呢，一直往下
it
跌，
has been much longer
这
than
股
that.
就一直在
For
股
the
票上
past
跌。
10 years, he has been
他就完了
suffering
不说话了。我
major
说
investment
这
losses,
只是一
and
现
his
象，
life has been going steadily
你继续再
downhill,
说，而
and
且发生的
he
是不
didn't
好的
understood
事。
why.
他说
So
哦，
upon listening to what he shared,
还有我在2、
and
3
I
年
said,
前
that's
呢，发
more
生了一
to
场
it
严
than
重的
that.
车
Please
祸，
continue.
差点
And
压
the
我的
man
小
went
命。
on. 3 years
然后这
ago,
额头
he was
和
involved
鼻
in a
子
very
磕
serious
了，
car accident
都好几
that
处，
nearly
粉
caused
碎
his
性
life.
骨折，看不
His
出来吗？
forehead, his
当时
nose,
我们一
his
点都
legs
没看出
all
来。
就想
sustained
做美
multiple
容的，
fractures
请
that he
到
had
韩
to
国来。
undergo
真的，韩国美容
reconstructive
技术真
surgeries
的很棒。
before he slowly
哎，
recovered.
他愣给
But
缝
it
合的
wasn't
啊弄的
obvious
哈，
to us
大家几
because
乎
he had
都没打雷，
undergone
都看不出来。
reconstructive surgeries.
你看粉碎性骨折啊，通常说脸上留下的疤哈是不容易长起来的。哎，我们就看不出来。
But it was very well
我
done
们没看出来。
that we wasn't obvious to
他
us
看
that
出
he
来
had
了。
major accidents.
很奇怪哈。
But I was able
哎，
to see that, to
其实我
see
看到
those.
的不是这一
Actually,
层，
what I saw is not just the
我
physical
看到的
layer.
呢是他的脸上哈冒出了一团
But what I
黑
saw
的，
that there
又
is
带一
a
点
dark
红色火光气
or
的那种，一
come
看就
with
是这种妖鬼啊，
there
那
are some
种
evil
阴气
energies
啊，
or
很
smoke,
强烈的这种
and
带
it's a
有
very
妖邪的鬼
intense,
阴之气。
very intense
是这
type
样，
of
但是在脸
evil
上呢，我
energy.
看得很清楚。我说你们看呢，就是那个气呀，
How
我
do
看
I
不
see?
见呢。所以
I
你们
look
几个人
at the
看不见是
qi
吧？
that
气不
reflected
见，
on the
因为我戴
face.
了老花镜哈。对，你们也配老花镜吧啊。
Maybe you need to
哎，
wear
所
a
以
progressive
你们
lens to
看不
see
见，但我
clearly
看见
for
了。
long-sighted.
你脸上如果有这个气，一定是倒霉。
Well,
而且
if
我
I
感
can
觉这已经
sense
很久了。
this type of qi on the face, you will have bad
人家
luck
说，
or
哎呀，反正
misfortunes.
干啥不顺
And
啊。
whatever
并
thing
且
that
呢，
he
这个
does, it will
有
not
时
be
候钱
good.
来了吧，看着
For
钱到了钱
example,
那里，
if the
或者
money,
钱
if
到
he
了手里
received
了，
money,
可
the
是呢，
money
早
come to
晨
his
手人就
hands,
划过去了，
but he's
就
not
像一
able to contain the money. It's like a eel fish. It will just slip away. And he asked, Master, why have I been so unfortunate? Actually, I don't really want to probe further, but because he asked that questions, I then close my eyes. Because when I open my eyes, I can't see at all. So I close my eyes and I start to see and investigate the underlying cause of this misfortunes. Where's the source of his misfortune? So actually, is it just is actually his ancestors, his ancestral lineage. So I use my Kung Fu to investigate further, to try to identify the source. I didn't see a ghost, it's just the ancestors. Maybe a guy who have a dark mustache and has a certain very ancient type of hairstyle. And I asked the ancestors question, why is it your descendant is so unfortunate? I said, well, that guy, I wanted to beat him up. I don't like him. And I said, what else? I also dislike the mom. I also dislike the father. Well, it's apparently the mother, the father, because the guy who come is actually the ancestors. So this gentleman, so he's unhappy with the sons, the one who approached me, the father. I don't like the mom. So they're angry with both the man and his mother. I use my intentions to discuss with him. Why? Because from your lineage, he's actually your descendants. You are the ancestors. Why is it that you don't dislike your descendants? Remember the song that I just sang? A lot of time, you have a door, and this door has a dark light. And there's a path. Actually, originally it's linked, but what's in the middle? It is actually a shape of a door. And so what does it mean? And they say, you went to a different door. Don't you understand? So after I got that from the ancestors, I turned to the young man and I asked him, your ancestor says that he disliked you and also disliked your mom. I said the father passed away in his 30s. He said, yeah, I dislike the father, but the father already dead. Did your mom remarried? He said, yes, but I think not really remarried. Apparently the mom found someone that she likes. But because the father passed away in his 30s, so for this boy, he was really young. So what it means is that my mom remarried, bring the boy, and then remarried. Say, for example, his surname is Kim, surname Kim, had been living with the Lee family, much like being adopted into another clan and separated from the original ancestral line. So the guy is the mom's. So essentially he has two fathers. So the door is like he's supposed to be a Lee family, but he went to the wrong door to become a Wang family. So in the northern part of China, if your guy, it's like you marry into the ghost family. you went to go into a different door. So the children that you have, you didn't follow the guy's surname. For example, the guy's surname is Niu. They have to follow the wife, not the father. If they live in different village, if he married into the girl's village, they cannot move back to the guy's village. So the ancestors, what he's trying to show me is that there is a door, and in that that's the meaning of the door. So when I use my divine eyes to see that, that's what additional door. So the person who come to ask me, he went into a different door. Well, whether it's right or wrong, but there is this story behind it that symbolizes another family. And that's why the ancestors was very unhappy about him and the mother. Yes, so he says that after the mom remarried, they lost contact with the father sides of the family and never went back to pay their respect to the ancestors. So for the gentleman that came to approach me, he has no memories of visiting the father's side to pay respect of their ancestors. So he has no memories of that. And that's why the ancestors was furious towards him and towards his mom. So it's quite a sad thing. And that's why he's become very unsuccessful, becomes very a lot of misfortunes, and that's why the calamities were the result of accumulating the yin energies. And that's why when he had the accident, his injury was like an eggshell, cracks into multiple pieces, and he almost lost his life. And that's why he asked, what's the future of his fortunes going to be? Because he feared that if this were to continue, it will affect him badly. Usually when a person has bad luck, it is in stages. But for him, it seems never ending. And that's why it's so troublesome. So I think it's important for you to learn these stories. Because this is a very strange story. And he was very fortunate that that day he had a chance to seek consultations and get master's advice. And master told him that he should make offerings to his father and his grandfather, because his ancestors care deeply about this. It's also important for him to make light offerings. Masters also suggested that he offer lights, chants, and dedicate these merits to his father and ancestors to help liberate their departed soul. And also masters remind him that he should formally reconnect with his paternal ancestral lineage, return to his father's side of family line, and restore his connections with his ancestors. Only then would his life gradually move towards a greater peace and good fortune. Yes, it is important for him to pay respect to his paternal ancestral lineage, like Qingming festivals or Ulaanbaatar festival. One thing is that you should pay respect at the grave, or alternatively, he should offer lights. Only when they do that, then the light can take a change. So when your life experiences that, it's because he doesn't have a lot of merits. He has a lot of karmic debts. It is just like what is the impact is that maybe he buy a stocks that is not making money. It's like buying an ice cream, it melts away. The investment is like an ice cream melting away. So this in itself, he not just because the ancestors is angry towards him, he also lacked merits. So I hope that after he pay respect to his ancestors, to his father, he come to look for us, and we continue to help him to quickly accumulate merits at our centers, maybe to offer lights. And that's when he can change his like. Maybe this dogs may take a change for the better. And like the fish that has been half eaten, turned alive. Because when bodhisattvas want to give you wealth, it's too easy. So maybe from 200,000 become 20,000, maybe it will rapidly raise in the share values. So that's why 2-3 years ago, he almost lost his life. And if we do not remind him to pay respect to his ancestors, maybe in the future, he will not have opportunities to accumulate merits at all. And then when we look at him, he looks very dignified in his appearance. But, in reality, he has so many misfortunes. So that's why it's important for you to understand the concept of this. For those departed, the parents, as well as your ancestors, you must always be respectful. And that it will be good for you. Respect is the key. Thank you, Master. He is so fortunate that he met Masters, and his fortune will take a change. Well, at least he chatted with us. And we have this silent prayer for him. And the next time when we chant, we will protect them. For those who have asked questions, or those who have left questions online, whether you like our stories or not, if you like, I like, then we will protect you and bless you. And then you will be smooth sailing, your life will be smooth sailing. And you have good fortunes that comes with you. And it will be easy for you to make money. And on top of that, you will have health, longevities, you will have wisdoms. And you will be very likable. Well, a lot of people comment, so fortunate to have Masters. Thank you, Masters. Thank you, Masters, for your blessings. So Masters, actually this time, it is quite close to our Ulavanam festival. So actually a lot of our online friends, they have a lot of stories. And one of them is from New York, from Xiaoyu. She said, some decisions seem simple at the time, but when you look back a year or two later, you realize that what once seems like easier options may have brought a family many unexpected hardships. So this is her story. In September 2023, the mom-in-law passed away from cancer. So when they were arranging for her funerals, she had no final wishes. So they followed the father-in-law decisions. He was very determined that she be buried at sea. He said, the children are all live far away now, and no one will visit a grave in the future. A traditional burial requires finding a cemetery and maintaining a grave site, and is too troublesome. A sea burial is the simplest option. The husband tried to persuade the father, hoping that his mother could still be laid to rest according to traditions. But the father-in-law was extremely stubborn. He even said, if she isn't buried at sea, I don't want to live anymore. As the younger generations faced with such determinations, they ultimately had no choice but to respect his wishes. Because sea burials requires advanced scheduling, it wasn't until September 1st, 2024, which is 1 year after the mom-in-law passing, that the husband returned to complete the sea burial. Afterwards, they all thought everything was finally settled. But little did they know that the true unsettling events were only beginning. While the husband was away handling the sea burial, she stayed home alone. During those few days, she suddenly became seriously ill without any warning. Her entire body felt weak and vomited repeatedly until blood began coming out from mouth and nose. When she looked in the mirror, her face was deadly pale and she was frightened. Panicking, she drew a divine lot. And not only that, she has an accident, but luckily she received a lot of blessings. So the son and the car was saved. But that's not the end of it. After 1 year after that, misfortune starts to happen again. First, the father-in-law, he used to have quite good health. He has a lot of strength. But during that time, he suddenly lost his sense. He seems to change person. He threatened the sisters, asked them not to leave the house. And after that, he went to the relative house, took food and then behaved irrationally. And from then on, the father-in-law health declined rapidly. Within less than 6 months, he lost more than 20 pounds. And then when he go to the hospital, when they took a check, the doctors could not identify a clear medical cause. They were all frightened and completely at a loss. During this time, the family business also began falling apart. In order to expand the business, they have invested a substantial amount of money by purchasing equipment and renovating a new storefront. But first, the equipment was detained by custom. And then when it was finally about to be released, it was mistakenly shipped to the wrong destination during transit. And the entire container was eventually sent back to the country of manufacturer and forced them to ship everything again. And then to avoid delaying, they had no choice but to order another set of equipment. So now they end up with higher custom fees, storage charges, and shipping costs. And money continued to pile up, but the business never truly improved. So they watched the investment grow larger while feeling helpless. Towards the end of the year, the husband also had some health problem. He suddenly came down with shingles. Within a short period, he looked so much worn out and became easily exhausted. So within a single year after the mom-in-law's sea burial, the father-in-law, the husband, the son all encountered their problems one after another. And the business also suffered continuous loss and never fully recovered. So later, after the father-in-law begins experiencing mental problems, they decide to consult a spiritual medium. The medium relayed a message that the mom-in-law was very cold and everywhere around her is water. Only then did they start to understand. They believed that all these misfortunes originated after the mom-in-law's sea burial. Fortunately, she continued serving as a volunteer at the center and consistently offering lights, praying for protections and blessings for the family. So if it's not for Master's compassions and protections and the blessings of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, if she hadn't continued the practice and sincere giving, most likely their situation may become worse. She's full of thanks, gratitude towards Master's guidance. So when the mother-in-law went for sea burial, she still had that realization. The son had an accident. And after a year, the father-in-law mental health affected, and the husband's also health took a turn, and the investments also lost money. And after that, they realized that all is because of some cause and effect. They also seek a spiritual medium. And the medium says that relay a message, and the mother-in-law says that she's very cold and she's around with water. So let's analyze this. Was it her own wish? Is it the mom-in-law wish to have a sea burial? No, it's actually by the father-in-law. It was actually the father-in-law that wanted the mom-in-law to go through the sea burial. And what was the reason for that? Because it's a more simplified method. Because when a person passes away, it is like emptiness, back to emptiness again. But what about the departed one, the mom-in-law? She didn't want to do that. She wanted a traditional burial. But because she's the first to pass on, and that's why she needs to follow the husband's wish. I didn't even know that you need to advance book to have the sea burial. Yes, they have to wait for a year before they can perform the sea burial ritual. But the moment that they start to do that, issues start to happen. So is it because the spirit of the departed one maybe has some attachments to the ash? Maybe they have a certain feelings, any senses like your cold, your pain, or your fearful. Maybe even a person departed, the spirit still has that. Well, for what I see is that although in the spirit form, the person will still have feelings. For example, in your dreams, you dream of someone that is departed. You can sense that the person is shivering or feeling the coldness. So the moment you feel that, you want to burn money, paper money, you also want to burn the paper clothes for them. And maybe when you dream of that person again, the person will change, will manifest a different looks to you. Actually, I think that the spirits has such feelings. So actually, when the ashes was actually spread onto the sea, I think the spirit itself has feelings. Especially for those who are fearful of water. Can you imagine that they live in such fear on a daily basis? So it starts to retaliate. And what is the effect? The effect is on the descendants. The descendants will start to have misfortunes. Yes, the first thing is the husband, which is the father-in-law. The father experienced mental health issue. It was very sudden. Suddenly he lost weight. He was actually walking very with ease, and suddenly he lost his weight. He lost weight. He wasn't able to talk, and he wasn't able to walk properly. So, based on what I know, it's a form of mental disorder. So, for someone who lost weight very quickly, if it's not cancer, then it is got to do with mental disease or mental disorder. So people who have depressions, then maybe they end up with eating a lot of food and they may gain excessive weight. So after the father-in-law has problems, their investment, their family business also experience business issues. Actually, initially they were looking at expanding the business. They even start to purchase equipment, but they were stuck at the customs. So a lot of misfortunes. So they have to repurchase a new set of equipment. So they just keep seeing that the money spent. So according to her, even to today, the family is still not doing what is still making losses from the past investment. So as a reminder to all, try not to pick sea burial. Although you may not feel anything about it when you're alive, maybe you're not used to sea burial. You're not a fish. So maybe you're not used to living in the sea. So it's better that because you lived on earth, on land, so it's better that when you die, you do a proper burial, not a sea burial. Maybe there's a sea monster that's trying to catch your soul. Maybe you think about it, you have some fear. Because at night you can't see the water. You can't see what's in the water. It's very dark. And for people who have fear of water, you try to avoid staying too close with water. Do not go swimming or go on a boat trips. Or take like the cruise. What happens if there is a capsize? You may be drowned. So a lot of people, they have fear of water. So Master talk about the sea barrier. There's also another one, is tree barrier. So basically what they do is that they will try to bury near the roots of the trees so that it will grow together with the trees. So Master, so what about this method? As the impact on the departed? First of all, whether the person has such a wish. Some government encourage that because they want to have some land for agriculture. So a lot of countries, they are protecting the agricultural land. Because they want to ensure there's enough. So what is our technology has developed? Because we need food, and that's why we need agricultural land. So there are a lot of government, they try to encourage cremations so that cremations, the body turn into ash, you put into, I've seen it before, you put into like a jar. Some place at home. Some place, they have specific place that keep all this, or organizations that keep this. So in Taiwan, if you're Buddhist, well, they have these huge buildings. And it's like little, they have like little niche there. And you have a lot of, they have a lot of chanting there. So they have all the chants that stay with supposed to stay with the spirit. So they have this columbarium. Some may feel that, well, the urn storage facilities may not be so easy to locate. So for simplicities, they just place the ash close to the trees and just have it buried close to the tree. But there's another saying. So the cremated ashes is not so good. So what happens is that you need to apply for it for the. There's only designated trees. Maybe there are like 50 trees. And then what they do is that they actually dig out all the ashes, and maybe they throw it to rubbish. So second day, third day, you have a new batch that use the same slot. So and then the next one will be the next batch. There's some who does it. In Korea, we met some people in Korea. When they pass away, they put to the temple. Maybe at the temple there are like 50 spots for them to place the urn. And then after some times they have dreams from the ancestors. And they try to look to the urn at the temple. They couldn't find it because the old abbot has passed on. But you can guess what happened. Because they only have limited spot, which is 50. So 10 over years, maybe they have done 2,000. They have collected 2,000. So maybe they may have thrown it out. Throw out the ashes and then look for the new one to take over the spot. So the departed soul would start to cause problems to the descendants. Yes, we have heard of several of such incidents. So a lot of descendants suffer because of this. And actually, when Master saw it, a lot of time, even in unsan centers, a few months ago, I was there for the consultations. There was a lady. She had a strange disease. Her tongues couldn't control herself. It's like a snake. It's like a slippery snake. What type of disease? Have you seen that? So we were so shocked when we saw the tongues like moving away. She has a lot of discomfort in the head, in the shoulders. Nobody can cure her. But when you look at her, she looks perfectly normal. Because our body is too complicated. So it is not easy to have a human body. Because it doesn't have the human's bodies and human senses. The complexities of the body is too difficult to imitate or build. So many years ago, so she asked me why. What happened to the tongue? Is there some causality? I use my intuitions and sensing and divine eyes to sense it. I didn't even ask about the ancestors, but I just took a few minutes to sense her. So actually it's got to do with the father. The daughter has a lot of strange disease. The tongue. She couldn't control the tongue. It was a very strange sight. There's a lot of strange disease. Maybe it got to do with the ancestors. So you want to be very careful when that happens. So that's why the burial is something that you should take it seriously. Let's wait a bit. All right, let's continue. So there was also stories about Brother Chai. He and his wife came to the New Taipei Meditation Center for consultations. So when we met him, his complexion was dark and haggard. He looked frightened, restless, and deeply shaken, as though he had been through a tremendous ordeal. So he described a nightmare he had experienced the previous night. So while sleeping, he dreamed that a mass of black energy rushed towards him. At the same time, he heard angry voices cursing in his ears. He awoke with a scream so loud that he startled his wife sleeping beside him. So after asking more questions, we learned that these nightmares had actually been troubling him for quite some time. And recently had become more frequent and more intense. Not only was he unable to sleep well at night, but one mishap after another also began occurring during the day. Once, while chopping vegetables at home, a task he had done countless times, he suddenly lost control of the knife and deeply cut his hand, and blood immediately poured out, leaving him badly shaken. Soon afterwards, while pouring hot water, then the kettle unexpectedly slipped from his hand and spilling boiling water over both of his feet and causing severe burns with large blisters. So, but this is like very inauspicious. So the most devastating incident was later described as a trust-based transaction. So what happens is that he met a woman through line who also from Taiwan, and and the lady says that they chatted pretty well, and they started to share life experience. And then suddenly, this lady shared with him that she wanted to start a business. She wanted to expand the business. So she has 100,000 US dollars. Maybe when she go to the US, not so easy to have a bank account. So she asked him for his help, whether she can use his account. So use his account to transfer the money there. So she wanted to pay him 10,000 as a service fee. Although he had some doubts, the information she provided was extremely detailed, so she thought it's quite a good deal. But he also worried about it. So what he did is he searched online and found that her backgrounds appeared to be genuine. So it seems like he can trust her. And because they have interacted for a while, she actually quite trusted her. So he finally let down his guard and mailed her his ATM cards and PIN. But this single decision plunged him into the darkest periods of his life. His bank account was quickly turned into a money laundering tool for a scam syndicate. Within a few days, hundreds of thousands of dollars in illegal funds flowed into the accounts and were then completely withdrawn. Because the amount involved was so large, the police started to investigate, and the police did not believe his explanations. Because his account was used by the scammers, they want to raise a legal proceeding against him. So he suddenly found himself facing 4 or 5 separate lawsuits. So the lengthy legal proceedings felt like enormous weight crushing on him. Even the source of his income and ownership of his property also came under scrutiny. And during this period, he kept asking himself, he never intended to hurt anyone. But how did his life end up like this? Why him? Actually, he also comes to becomes volunteer, but he was not consistent in it. His Dharma sisters, his wife at home, say he's quite petty. And maybe because of that, he didn't accumulate enough merits, and that's why he faced the problems. So he came to the center when he had bad nightmares, and he wanted to seek guidance from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So he started to seek the Divine Lord, and the Divine Lord says it got to do with his ancestors. And then the wife says that actually the father-in-law already passed away when he married, but it was the descendants that. But what happens is that the father-in-law has already passed away when they got married. Although he was a traditional Buddhist who burns incense and worshipped the Buddhas during his lifetime, his funeral has been arranged by younger relatives using Christian funeral rituals. And several years later, those relatives reportedly continued to feel troubled by his spirits. Eventually, they decided to seek communications with a traditional spiritual medium. And then when they do that, the father-in-law angrily said, "Why do you dress me up in a white robe, tie me up, and make me carry a cross? I was suffering terribly." After hearing this, she immediately dedicated marriage to him. She felt that it must be because they performed the ritual, the Christian ritual, that was not suitable for the father-in-law. So she immediately dedicated marriage to him. So after that, they request for another communication with the spirit. And this time, the father-in-law said, "The white robe is finally gone, and I no longer have to carry the cross." But he added, "I still have no money, and life is still very difficult." Because this daughter-in-law is a Buddhist, she always honored her ancestors during traditional festivals and holidays. After joining Bodhi, she frequently reminded her husband to dedicate marriage to the father and all his ancestors. But he always replied, "We visit the graves every Qingming festival. Isn't that already fulfilling our duties as descendants?" But the wife believed that his recurring nightmares were likely because the father urgently needed help from the descendants. So he decided to seek guidance from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, so he drew another divine oracles. And this time is a very positive oracle, divine oracle lot. So now she finally understood how his previous attitude had been. And he also realized that he had been extremely stingy in accumulated merits. And after encouraged by his wife, he sincerely reflected on himself, and he immediately resolved to offer annual lights on behalf of his father and ancestors, and make offerings to Earth-Store Bodhisattvas, and also volunteer more often at the meditation centers and chant regularly, and also to delegate the merits of his practice to his departed fathers and generations of ancestors. So it was his heartfelt wish that his departed loved one would receive the compassionate blessings of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Masters, and soon be freed from sufferings and attain peace. A few days later, he returned to the meditation center. When they asked him, and he replied, "Well, he has been sleeping very well, and the disturbance have finally stopped." So this is from the US. It's quite recent. This is another true stories that we gather. So when the ancestors are suffering, then those alive will suffer. So he has these bad dreams. And he has this dark smoke. So he has these bad dreams for a while. But for him, he went through a lot of misfortune during this period. He was scammed. His account was scammed, used by scammers to perform money laundering activities. And his life, he has to be undergoing monitored by the police. Because the police will be, why do you give your accounts to others? Why do you give your accounts to the scammers? Well, you must have some benefits. Who will believe you that you say that you do it for free? Out of kindness. Who will believe you? So if our ancestors, if they're unhappy with you, then you will have issue. But because of the daughter-in-law, because she's in Bodhi, she understood all this. And because he went, the father-in-law, he was a Buddhist, but his funeral was a Christian ritual. So it made the spirits very awkward because he's a Buddhist and suddenly he changed to be a Christian. So nobody wants him. Because the Christian side, you say that you're not our people. But because the ritual was performed a Catholic ritual, the Christian ritual, the spirit didn't go to the Buddhist Pure Land. So that's why it's important for you to have your own belief systems. Otherwise, in that world, they will suffer, the ancestors will suffer, and the descendants will suffer as well. Look at him. So it's a reminder to us. Otherwise, you may feel that is it the same when you go to the other world? No, it's not. And that's why it is important to accumulate merits for the ancestors. Some may say that, well, I have Qingming. I already pay respect. So it's important to accumulate merits for them. You must chant for the father. For us, we learn meditations. What if the cancer has not recovered, and what if you pass away? No matter how much money you have, you will not be able to enjoy life. So making light offerings is just a small portion of your wealth. Or some people make wrong investments or bad investment. Sometimes your life savings may be scammed. Maybe 300,000 or maybe 600,000 all gone in that instant. But normally, you don't want to spend money to eat, you don't want to spend for yourself, or even offer lights to clear misfortunes. If they don't do that, they will lose more money. There are many such incidents. This is like a beggar fate. You may be a wealthy person, but he lives like a beggar. When it's important to spend, he refuses to spend. Some we seek some fundings. They are really like almost like millions or billionaires. And we approach them for fundings, they say they have no money. And 2 years later, they come and look for me. And so what happens? And the person starts to cry. And they say, well, I lost my money to scammers. Wow, you have so much money? And it says that, well, when I have my money back, maybe we can split. But how do we do that? We are not robbers. But what if before you do that, you just make some merits, or you just accumulate some merits through some light offerings? Wouldn't that be good? So you shouldn't be so stingy. You should be willing to spend some money. So we become a slave to the numbers. Because the scammers already understand the psychology of your mind. They know of your greed and desires, and that's why they can scam away your money. So when you make light offerings, you will have the inspirations from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas at the critical moments. So a lot of time people lose their fortune. And that's because of greed. You may feel that is a very good investment. Maybe you could gain a lot of dividends returns. When you think about it, you feel like this is such a rare opportunity to make money. But you want to remember, you will not have good... Nothing will drop from the sky for free. It's impossible. If someone tells you that, you must always, first of all, you must alert yourself that this is potentially a scam. You may say that, well, but my old friends, Brother Lee, cannot scam me. I never tried to hurt him, and I know him for so long. But sometimes, they purposely, some scammer, they want you to scam your own family members or people that are closest to you. And when you go to them and say, why is it you scam me? They say, no, you make your own investment decisions. You have to evaluate your own investment risk. This is normal. So I just want to remind you here. But when you lack merit, you have a lot of misfortunes, like you may end up in divorce, or your children are not good, or doesn't study well, or you have a lot of bad events that happens to your life. Oh, why is it so? It's because it's a form of manifestations of the ancestors' spirits is not very happy or they are suffering. So when you have such signs, you must remember to pay respect to the ancestors. At least the minimum is that you want to receive the blessings of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's why light offerings is critical. So, Master, shall we have a present for those who shared the earlier two that share? Xiao Yu from New York. So let's look at this. This is a t-shirt, the dragon red t-shirts. It's a very beautiful t-shirt. It will ward off evil energies. If you want to go for exams or important events, or when you fear when you sleep, you wear it. It's very good. So this is for Xiao Yu. And also exhibits for Xiao Yu to protect you, bring you auspiciousness. And there's another one for Xiao Cai from Taiwan. Also similar, the t-shirts. So these are designed by me. And also I have this lapis lazuli's peace pendants, especially for those who like to drive. Well, a lot of time it's not saved. You wear this and you will be saved. Thank you, Master. So, Master, we talk about these stories. And we have some questions from online friends. Peggy shares that, hello, Master. Actually, years ago, my aunt also went through a sea barrier. And my cousin dreamt about my departed aunt to say that she's very cold. And after that, my cousins offered lights at the temple, and he stopped dreaming about the aunt. And we also have online friends that ask, what if the sea barrel is the wish of the departed one? So do we follow him or not? I think you should ask Buddhas. First, say your grandfather passed away, and his wish is that to go through either a tree burial rituals or sea burial ritual. That's his wish. but you feel that it's not auspicious, so you go to our centers. First, be very respectful to seek the guidance of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And then you seek Bodhisattvas' guidance, whether they should follow. You should follow. And then you will pick the divine oracle Lord. And you'll be guided by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's my thought. Thank you, Master. This is so important. We also have another friend and says that so my maternal side, they bought a piece of land and wanted to build a house. So during that time, we have a neighbor that comes to us and say that is actually the burial ground of their ancestors' burial ground. During that time, they were still young. They didn't really know too much about it. So what you want to do is 749 lights and also the big lights to seek the masters, medicine Buddhas, to guide them to Eastern Lapis Lazuli Pure Land to resolve this. So actually, which land is no matter where we live, it is common for people to live, and very likely that the spot someone has passed on. So whether there's any grave or dead bodies underneath that, if it's clear of that, then it's good. Otherwise, you may have issues. You need to get the specialist or the specialized medium or priest to get it sorted out. If the person says and left, there's also a sign. If you are really concerned, then you really want to make sure that there's really some spirits there. If there is, you need to get medicines Buddhas to clear the spirits. Otherwise, they may not want to leave. Remember, in Malaysia, we have someone that we know, disciples that went to a hotel, and there's an old lady. The spirits of an old lady say that that's my bed. You sleep in the sofa. So for her, she said, okay, I'll sleep at the sofa. Because it's like the ghost trying to fight the bed. Trying to fight her bed. And she says, it's fine, I should just sleep in sofa. Because it's at night, you have nowhere to go. But that's because the person is a guy. But if it's a lady, she will have a lot of fear. So masters, we talked about a few cases earlier. There's also some, it's not our ancestors, but they're related to us. So the next stories is actually from Malaysia, from Johor Bahru, from a letter by Xiao Feng. She said, at the end of September 2025, I suddenly received a phone call from my family. They told me that for some unknown reason, a gust of wind had blown the statues of Guanyin Bodhisattvas off our home altar, and the statues fell off, knocking the incense burner to the ground, where it shattered into pieces. The moment I heard this, I felt deeply uneasy. I had the strong feelings that something bad was about to happen. So I immediately went to the Fine Dharma Meditation Center and asked one of the teachers to perform a blessings for me. During the blessing, Zhen Yan teachers looked at me and said, I see a cloud of dark energy above your head. How has your child been lately? I found the questions rather puzzling. As far as I knew, my daughter was perfectly fine. But only a few weeks later, my daughter came home and unexpectedly suggested that she wanted to visit the meditation center. So I accompanied her there and asked the teacher to take a look at her. So as soon as the teacher closed her eyes, his expressions changed. She said that he saw a female ghost dressed in white and her hair was messy and blood flowing from the corners of her mouth. She was standing behind my daughter, filled with intense anger. The teacher immediately asked my daughter, "Have you been feeling unwell recently?" Only then did she finally tell us the truth. She said, "Actually, over the past 2 weeks, she has been admitted to the ICU twice for no apparent reason. Each time she'll be walking normally and suddenly couldn't breathe. It felt as though someone was squeezing the throat with all their strength. But every time she went to the hospital, the doctors ran all kinds of tests and couldn't find anything wrong. They only suspected it might be anxiety or a heart attack, and she didn't share with the family, so she kept it to herself." So hearing this chilled through me. So after that, Zhen Yan teacher then used Master's blessed sacred fans to perform another blessing. During the meditations, she perceived the karmic connections between the daughter and the female spirits from the previous life. So apparently in the past life, the daughter of ignorance has become involved with a married man and became the third person, the other woman. So her appearance destroyed another woman's family. Driven by unbearable despair and rage, the wife poisoned her 2 young children before taking her own life by hanging herself. 3 lives were lost. Unable to let go of her immense resentment after her tragic death, the woman became a vengeful spirit. Across lifetimes, she continued searching for the one who had taken away her family. So in this lifetime, she had come specifically for the daughter, determined to claim her life. Under the guidance of the teacher at the meditation center, my daughter finally understood these karmic connections and sincerely acknowledged her past wrongdoings. Before the Buddha, she offered a heartfelt repentance and apologized for the woman, begging for forgiveness. She also dedicated 49 days of light offerings at the meditation center for the deceased wife and the 2 innocent children, praying with complete sincerity that they would forgive her and that these karmic grievances could finally be resolved. After the offering was made, the teacher performed another blessing. This time she saw a compassionate master appear. She described seeing Master standing majestically in the vastness of space, slowly lowering a silver strain of light from his hand. The female spirit tightly grabs the silver thread while the 2 children cling to her legs. With immense compassion, Master slowly and painstakingly lifted them upwards. The process was difficult, but in the end, he guided the mother and the 2 children out of darkness and into the light. As the teacher recounted the scene, everyone present was moved to tears. Resolving such profound hatreds and karmic debts requires extraordinary compassion and immeasurable merits. In the end, the female spirit finally let go of her hatred and together with the 2 children were guided to a place of light. From that day until now, nearly a year later, my daughter has never again experienced those terrifying episodes of sudden suffocation. The invisible hands that had been strangling her finally let go. Had it not been Master, she cannot imagine what would happen to the daughter and the family. So great reverence and gratitude to Grandmaster JinBodhi. So if it's not because our Zen teacher saw this, we will not know exactly what happened. And if it's not because of that, they will continue to have this inauspiciousness. So the past life and current life, we really do not understand. Maybe in the past life we had become a butcher, we was a butcher, or we were a robber. We would have been any jobs, bad jobs. So in reincarnations, because we drank the Mengpo soup, we lost memories of the past life. You can forget about this, but what about the karma? The karma will not disappear because you bring your memories from past life. You can't leave. Can you imagine a baby, a toddler, pointing to the woman and say, "That's my life. You are my past. You are my wife of the past life." Maybe the grandfather was actually the enemy from last life. So it's correct to forget about, to erase the memories of past life. But don't forget, the karmic debt will continue with the spirits. So it's good that we do not remember our past life. But through cultivation, some people, maybe of some special connections, they may be able to receive some special power or supernatural power, like to have these divine eyes to see the past life. Some may be able to see the past life or as well as the future life. These are all very, very likely. And that's why in Malaysia, this Zhen Yan, she has this ability to help people to ward off some calamities. Because what she sees is actually the source of disease. And then when you're able to break the cycle, the disease will disappear. It is not because of your current body that you have it in the current body. It's because of the karma. It's as simple as that. So it's good to be able to see that. She came to learn from masters for 2 to 3 months. Master didn't actually impart her with special divine power. No, she just do normally, maybe. But it's just her sincerity. Because of her sincerity, she received some special feelings. So because we talk about these stories, so if we can see our past life, or this daughter, she destroyed another family from a previous life, then we understand that there's a way to get rid of that. Otherwise, I think she will be tortured in this life and she will not be able to enjoy her life. Or maybe it will cause new problems to her. So after she knew about this, she dedicated light offerings to clear this. Well, if you can offer lights and clear this, that is very good already. Because she is in her youth, and if she has misfortunes, and then she actually went to ICU twice. And what happens if she didn't wake up? Her family don't even know. But because she's worried that parents will worry, so she didn't share this with the parents. But what if she went to the ICU and she passed away there? It's all possible. I've seen some images of some lecturers during lecture. Suddenly they have some stroke and then they just dropped it. It's like a moment ago, he was just perfectly fine and just giving lecture. And the next moment, he dropped dead. Yes, or some people suddenly, 2 months ago, they were perfectly fine and suddenly they have cancer. And maybe within a few months, it's like egg size. And 5-6 months later, it spread to the entire body. Actually, at the beginning, Xiaofeng, she received letters from the families, and the families shared with her that for some unknown reasons, the wind blows away the Guanyin Bodhisattva statues. And then it knocked the incense burner to the ground and shattered to pieces. What does it mean? It is not auspicious when something like this happens. Well, it is very, very bad. And it also means that there's no descendants. Why? Why incense? Why incense burning? Burner? Because what the incense burner means is to bring prosperity to your descendants. That's the meaning, and it brings auspiciousness. That is the meaning of it. So it represents how you can continue to bring the prosperity to your descendants. So what happens when the incense burner is shattered into pieces? It is the opposite of that. So if you just by offering 49 days of lights, then you can clear this misfortune. That's good. In fact, in the future, it must continue to accumulate merits. Maybe based on what we don't know about this, you say that you should quickly get a new burners, incense burners. Otherwise, something bad may happen. Because when you are Guanyin Bodhisattvas, the issues has not been resolved. And also the incense burner, the issue has not been resolved. Otherwise, you will have future misfortunes again. You will have the biggest bad things going to happen to the family. Thank you, Master. But for the daughter, although it's karmic issues, but it's also negative energies. So during these periods of Ulam Manam festival, is there something we can do to ward off these evil energies or prevent that? This is really easy. Because it's not like normal people that fight. You just need to wear armor or carry weapons. No, it's not. So these evil energies mean something that we cannot see, but it exists there. When it comes to you, maybe you have major sickness, or maybe you just fall down and died, or maybe you start to think strangely, or you may have mental disease, or maybe it comes close to you, you lose all your fortunes. It's all forms of misfortunes. So to ward off this, the only way is first, accumulate merits, and secondly, the blessed items. Blessed items of the meditations masters, even like wand, you will have very good protections. If you don't wear, and when the evil energy comes close to you, there's no way you can ward off. So you need something to protect you. Yes, you need something to provide protections. So any blessed items you carry with you, maybe you'll be able to ward off these negative energies that come close to you. Thank you, Master. During this festival, we should wear more Master's blessed items. Yes, we should make sure that we will be saved. Well, somebody asked me, can I wear more? I can on more is good. Why? Like just now we talk about the daughter. Actually, you have done some things that are bad deeds. So they will cause issues in the past. Especially when it's from past life. The spirits will come to invade you and you can't see the physical forms. So when you have major disease, maybe it's just a gust of wind and then you have the sickness. So now you think about it, everyone can take videos. I've seen people who just walk and then they just collapse on the street. It is not a performance. Sometimes there is actually dropped into a drain because when they fall, they lose consciousness. maybe suddenly there's a heart attack. And now if you fall down because of that, you may hit the corner of the table or you drop into the drain. What happens? You may actually cause death. So you want something that will protect you. These blessed items. I think it is very important. But when we say is, because we face different people. People may say that we're trying to sell things. But like for us, when we see people, because we have reached a certain age, we also find that we don't have enough energy. So usually, I will wear something that I feel that something that will bless me or more protective to ward off some negative energy. Because sometimes this negative energy is really strong. You can take it as it's worse than tiger, more fierce than tiger. But when you have these blessed items, there's no way that it can come close to you. At least you're not there to come close to you. Remember some people, when they wear this, we wear the blessed items, they were not there to come close to you. Yes, during a class, a student came, she had some spirits that's on her body. And suddenly, sometimes she has these reactions. And the spirit that's on her body, and then when the body has the spirit on, she was screamed. And she said that she cannot go to light places. She needs to be in dark corners. So she was curled up there in the dark corners. So we say to her that, why don't we just bring her to another place? And she said that actually her body, she has all these blessed beads. So when she has these reactions, she would so when it happens, she felt so painful. She wanted to remove this blessed beads. She said, I don't want this. Sometimes when the spirits get to the body in that moment, they can't come to the center. For example, for every center, I say that I hope that they have evil energies that should come here. Then we can help them. So when you come to the center, we can serve you. So I have these intentions and I have all these Dharma protectors. They're here. So allow these people to come to the center so that we can help them. But for those, for some of such places, it's very difficult for people who have evil spirits to get into the centers because they will feel the strong energies. So that's why the blessed items will definitely protect you. For example, if you look here, all these blessed items, because in the past there's a lot of war. So for the guy, you can wear one of this turquoise on the body, then this person will be saved from the battle. What does it mean? It will be able to save your life. It will bring you auspiciousness. And if you're a businessman, you will be able to create fortunes. You'll be able to get opportunities. You will not be scammed. And that is very important, especially these 2 years. What is the key movement? This is actually during the rate. From this month onwards, a lot of countries. In my FB, I shared that in France, it's so hot. If you search France, India, it's like almost 50 degrees Celsius. Can you imagine when you try to break an egg, a raw egg, it will actually cook a raw egg because it's so hot. For example, 48 degrees, what happened to your egg? Maybe your egg. So every place, every region is different. For example, Singapore is 33 degrees Celsius. Every day you feel like you're in a sauna. So you don't have a sauna. You don't. Sauna bath is not popular in Singapore, right? But you just wear a t-shirt when you walk on the streets. You feel like you're in a sauna, huge sauna. So the weather is so hot, and that's why it's very easy to have conflicts among countries. And also people who are clashes of Tai Sui. Who are the people? We have the horse, we have the rats, we have the ox, and we have the rabbits. So these are the zodiac signs. So you may not be so fortunate. So this year, it is very important, and I suggest 3 to 4 colors. One of them is specifically for this year, and it's blue, green, and white. That is very important, these colors for the year. And this is turquoise in Turkey that we bought. And we get them, we use to be silver plated, and it's so beautiful. And also these red beads, this South agate. In the past, during Ming dynasties or even Qing dynasties, the high-ranking officers, they wear these 108 beads. This is a designated beads for them to go for the court. So these are very good qualities. So they dig out a batch, and now they stopped allowing that. The government stopped allowing people to dig that. So this can ward off some major accidents. So if you want, you can have blue and red to ward off those calamities. Some, they come to us and say that maybe next 2 years you may have some misfortune. Is it really? Well, I start to question myself. And 2 years later, the person says that, well, that person had an accident. Why? Well, if you listen to me, then you wear this. Isn't that good? Maybe it can provide you with protections. Isn't that good? So when the person came to look for me, it was actually limping. It's not so convenient. So these are the blessed items. For example, this is made of Tao wood. You can have it. You can hold it when you're sleeping. But you want to be safe. This is wood material. It wards off negative energies. So this peach wood, this pastel is very good. And we also talk about t-shirts. If you wear this at night, I'm sure you will sleep better. Maybe you wear this, you feel differently. If you wear this red shirt and sleep, if it benefits you, please leave a message for me. All these blessed items, at critical moments, will provide you with blessings and protection. That's for sure. And we have many of such testimonials. So it provides you with brilliant illuminations, Buddha's illuminations. Actually, in Malaysia, a lot of very smart. We even have the blesseds. We even have the sutras, and they have it in the car. Front, the back, and all corners. But if you put 10, you can ward off evils or you can ward off accidents. Isn't good. You can invite at home because these are free. You can read it. If you don't want to read it, you just put around the house. It will protect you and provide you with blessings. Isn't that auspicious? I think there was a guy, there's a story. He has Master's blessing card. It's auspicious card, a small auspicious card. And there was a major. There was actually the burglary in the bank. Yes, he worked as a security, like a Cisco officer, security officer, to help to escort cash in a van. So he belongs to such Cisco security officer. The mom is actually a disciples practitioner, so gave him a small auspicious card, and said, you must carry with you all the time. So he placed it in his pockets. It was actually in the newspaper. So the burglar had guns, and 3 died immediately. I think it was like 20 over years ago. And the son managed to escape without any injuries. You may feel like it's a coincidence, but for the son, he felt that that's because he had these blessing cards. He has these cards by masters. I am not a divine, I'm not a deity, but I'm a kind person, and I provide him with protections. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Sometimes maybe you want to bring my photos with you. Maybe it will bring you auspiciousness as well. Yes, in important moments, the Buddha's illuminations will be able to save us. Thank you, Master. So we have a present for him as well. So how about this auspicious dragon t-shirts, the 6 syllabus mantra t-shirts, to bring wishing you auspiciousness, and also a peach wood pastel, Raja pastel, and wishing you successful in your career and your happiness in the family, and your daughter will also receive health and happiness. So we have stories about Xiao Wen from New York. She shared something about her own personal experience. She said, for 10 over years, my mother experienced something very unusual. Around Qingming festivals and the Ulamadam festival, every year she would frequently have terrible nightmares. And every time when she woke up, she felt deeply unsettled, as though a heavy weight was pressing on her heart. So during that time, we assumed that it was simply due to exhaustion or stress. None of us imagined that these recurring nightmares were over more than a decade, would ultimately lead us to discover an ancestral grave that had been neglected for many years. In 2021, I had the opportunity to consult Grandmaster JinBodhi in person. The masters told me and reminded me that there's a problem with your family's ancestral grave. It is rapidly losing energy. I'll help stabilize it for now, but you should repair it as soon as possible. His words startled me. I immediately asked my mom, Mom, what's the conditions of our ancestors' grave? What's the conditions of Grandpa's and Grandma's grave? Has anyone been taking care of it? She sighed and replied, Your grandparents passed away more than 10 years ago. They don't even have a proper tombstone. The grave is overgrown with weeds, and hardly anyone goes there anymore. I brought it up many times, but your uncle had never done anything about it. After hearing this, my mom and I began reflecting on everything that happened to my uncle's family over the years. When my uncle was young, he was highly successful and well respected in our country. His family owned several quarries with more than 20 large excavators. Business was thriving. While the grandparents were alive, they adored my uncle, especially his 3 sons. By all appearance, this should have been a prosperous family with wealth, capable sons, and every opportunity to flourish. Yet, for reasons no one understood, the family gradually declined. First, accidents repeatedly occurred at the quarries. Then came lawsuits, disputes, compensation claims, and one setback after another. So the once booming family business slowly deteriorated. Even more heartbreaking was what happens to my uncle's 3 sons. The eldest cousin married a beautiful wife and had a bright, intelligent son. He helped manage the family business and seemed destined to inherit it. But eventually, he developed a severe gambling addictions. On one occasion, he lost more than $1 million in a single night. Unable to pay his debt, he was forced to flee to another city. The second cousin was a high school teacher with a stable career, a wife and 2 children. His life was peaceful, but he too became addicted to gambling, and in the end his marriage fell apart and his family was destroyed. The third son has always been the most pampered and seemed to be the most well-behaved. No one expected him to become addicted to online gambling. It wasn't until debt collectors showed up at the family's doorsteps that everyone discovered he had secretly lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. A family that once enjoyed such prosperity was slowly hollowed out from within. Eventually, the uncle passed away from kidney failures in his early 60s. By then, the family has already fallen into poverty. Relatives had to pool their monies together just to pay for his funeral. So for years, one question haunted me. How could a family that's once been so prosperous decline so quickly? It wasn't until Master pointed out our ancestral grave was losing energy that I went back to see my grandparents' neglected grave. That's when I truly awakened. While they were alive, the grandparents had loved the descendants dearly. Yet, after they passed away, they didn't even have a proper tombstones and their grave had been left covered in weeds. In 2020, our family finally restored their gravesite. We rebuilt it into a beautiful, peaceful resting place that resembled a small garden. We also erected a proper tombstones and respectfully engraved the names of all their descendants. The moment the tombstone was erected and the grave was restored, experienced an indescribable sense of peace. It felt that something that had remained unfinished for many years has finally been fulfilled. And after that, more things start to become better. The atmosphere within the family genuinely began to change. The most noticeable change was my mom. From that point on, she no longer suffered nightmares around Qingming or the Ulapanam festival, as she has more than 10 years. She has become more calm and more at peace. My uncle's family gradually began moving to better directions as well. The oldest cousin still lives far away from home and life remained challenging, but he has become more responsible. He lives frugally and regularly sends money to support his family. And last year, the son worked hard and was admitted to good universities. The second son, whose gambling addiction has nearly destroyed both his family and career, turned his life around. He gradually abandoned gambling and was able to keep his teaching positions. The younger son, who once caused endless worry for the family, also changed dramatically. He became motivated, stopped drifting through life, get married, and now proud father of a pair of adorable twin daughters. This change didn't happen overnight. It's because of Master's compassion's guidance. We would never have discovered the true source of family's problems. After following Master's advice, my mom's years of recurring nightmares came to an end, and our family's fortunes gradually began to improve. Watching each member of the family slowly change filled me with deep reverence. Just as what Master teaches, when the ancestors are at peace, their descendants can enjoy great blessings and harmony. I am greatly grateful to Master. Thank you, Masters. Yes, we know this person Xiaowen very well. Few years ago, right? When she saw me at Vancouver, I said to her, and she had these intentions, which is her maternal grandparents, the grave, to rebuild the maternal grandparents' grave. Well, actually, the mom did raise the issues to the brother, the uncle, but they don't bother. And they don't even pay respect. So what a coincidence. The uncle is a smart person. And I even asked, they sound like laminated stones. It's actually very expensive. It is as good as is given. You can sell the stones at a very expensive. So what they do is that they just slice the stones, the quarries, and then it can collect onto the buildings. So they sell it for it is a very expensive stones, natural stones. But what a coincidence. The 3 cousins, each one suffers. They suffer. So what are bad habits they have? Gambling. So we talk about this. Gambling, you will just be able to burn money away. It's just like from physical money, it turns into smoke. What a coincidence, the 3 sons. So the money that the uncle made, very soon it will be gambled away by the son. So gambling is the fastest way to burn away your wealth. So is it getting to do with it? Yes. When I first know him, I look at his face. I already sense that it's got to do with the graves, the ancestral grave. So you may lose money or even lost your life. So that's when energy starts to leak. So if I would see it 5 years ago, the uncle's business would be able to keep. So they only managed to keep partially. 2-3 years ago, when I see them, I say that, well, it's losing energies. During that time, the cousins already spent the money of the uncles. They spent away the fortunes. So when she followed what I said, so Xiaowen is a very kind person. She spent the money and get the cousins to help with the ancestral graves. And after that, things changed for the better. And the eldest cousins, the son, get into good universities, and all good fortune changed for them. So is it coincidence? You think it's coincidence? Well, that's because our masters provide guidance. So the moment that he saw me, I just say, I could see the looking energies at your ancestral graves. Actually, during Qingming and during Ulabanam festival, it is very important to pay respect to ancestors. But the thing is, the maternal grandmother, nobody cares about the grave. And that's why the mom kept having nightmares. So when you have nightmares, it's not good. Because when she was alive, she dotes on all the descendants. But when she passed on, she don't even have a proper tombstone. And that's why when with anger, the reality is that you will start to lose fortunes and lose money. But luckily for Xiaowen, she's a very, very kind person. And because of that, from a negative event, it turns positive. So you must be respectful to your ancestors, and that is very important. And you need to have gratitude. When we have gratitude, you will be happy every day. If you do not have that, well, even you may eat very good food every day, you will not be able to enjoy the full favors of the things. If you look at another human beings, you feel like it giving you, you will not be happy about it. And that's why I keep stressing that gratitude is very important. You need to have gratitude. And that is the truth about learning the Dharma. Thank you, Master. Yes, even though you have gratitude, you want to be a person with feelings, with true feelings. Otherwise, you'll not be able to receive the happiness in this life. Actually, what is true happiness? It is important for you to have feelings. So when you have good companions, the food itself may not be expensive, may not be very good food, but you will be able to enjoy each other's company. Or when friends are good together, maybe your things that you spend is very little, but you feel happy with each other's companions. So if you have no such feelings, then you will feel tired. Because when you have problems, well, you don't even dare to tell people when you make money. So when you have good things that happen to you, you don't share with people. And if you will lose the type of sense of happiness. And that's why it's important to be loyal and affectionate towards one another, to have friends, especially for those in school. There are a few thousand people. If you don't even have one friend, they don't even want to go to school because they are afraid that they will be faced with bullies. Some people, when they go to school, they start to face headaches. Why? Because they don't think that the school is heaven. They feel like the school is hell. But if you're someone who is affectionate and possesses a strong sense of righteousness and duties, you have a lot of friends in school. So I hope all of you will be such a people. So we have a present for Xiaowen as well. Yes, so today with this special t-shirts, this auspicious dragon t-shirts that will ward off evil energies, and wishing Xiaowen health, longevity, and auspiciousness. And look at this, we have this beautiful precious beads. Wear this. It is specifically for this period. And you'll be able to remain calm. And you will be able to gain great wisdoms. Thank you, Master. So Lebanon Festival is so close. So we do have some special light blessings, opportunities, and Masters is so compassionate as to allow all to make. So during this time, the light offerings are available starting from $1. Thank you, Masters, because I'm sure everyone will have the opportunities to make such light offerings. To do this for our families, for our ancestors, for the departed parents or past life and ancestors, as well as karmic creditors and infant spirits. It is like what Master says, be an affectionate person, be a loving and affectionate person, and we want to take these opportunities to offer light offerings for our departed loved ones. And some people and all the different centers, they have different questions. Some, when they step into the centers, maybe they do have some dark smoke, and maybe they have nightmares of their departed loved ones. Or maybe the departed loved ones are suffering, and also their life is not auspicious, or maybe their career is not so good. There are a lot of not auspicious things. So for these people, maybe they should not just offer one simple light offerings. Maybe they need more merits to resolve the issues that they have now. Yes, everyone is different. I give you an example, but this may not be so appropriate. Say, for example, you see a big house on fire, but you only have 1 teacup of water. Do you think you'll be able to put off the fire? No, it's not possible. Because this teacup, when you reach huge fire, the cup of tea is not good enough. So it's the same as analogy when you were trying to clear our karmic debts. So when you don't have enough merit, there's no way you'll be able to ward off this, to ward off this. But if you do not have so much credit, you have karmic debts, then this is auspicious already. But if your money has been scammed, or your health is having issues, or your kids' education is facing problems, I think you should consider to accumulate more merits. I'm just telling you the truth. I have no any thoughts. I just want to sincerely teach you. It's important to accumulate merits. It is when you accumulate merits, then you'll be able to have the major problems will be resolved, or major issues will become small or minor issues. So because of every individual's karma is different, the amount of merits needed will also be varied. For example, it are recommended to perform like greater act of merits, like making festival lights offerings for the deceased, or dedicating 49 festive lights for 49 days to help the departed. Also to help one resolve one's own karma obstacles. And also because before, in addition to this one, we also have we realize that a lot of times they also need to have money to spend. So this year, for everyone, we also provide you with, we also have the ritual offering sets. The ritual offering sets, we will have the different, we will have gold and silver treasure mountain ritual offering sets, gold treasure mountain ritual offering set, and silver treasure mountain ritual offering set. So our departed loved one will love to receive this. And on top of that, we have add-on, special add-on. For example, warm clothes. You'll be able to provide with even like lotus, like the lotus to guide them to the Eastern Pure Land. And this year, we also have the boat, the Dharma boat, to bring them to the Pure Lands, to be free from sufferings. So we can actually have this special add-ons for them. Thank you, Masters. Some actually have some questions. Someone asked, so Master, what about for my karmic creditors? Can I do that for them? So how many warm clothing sets should I give to my karmic creditors? So we have some who ask this questions. I remember last year in Vancouver, and during this period, the Dharma sisters, she shared with us, she did that for the ancestors. So she prepared a paper mansion and wrote the names of many ancestors on it. All their names was written on it. And later, she had a dream. She dreamt that her ancestors appeared in a dream to complain. It's far too crowded. Yes, they received the mansions, paper mansions, but it's too crowded. So they put all the names, everyone's. So everybody, all they wrote, the entire people, even the karmic creditors also put it in there. Well, before she burned this paper mansions, you don't have so many issues. So now, everybody starts to have issues. Because you shouldn't do it this way. You must write name. For paper mansions or clothes, you must write the name. For example, Xiang Ke's grandma or great-grandfather. It's okay that they have no name, but you'll be able to receive if you put your name. Otherwise, you'll end up fighting. And also, there are some lone spirits that come to fight for place as well. That's why it's important to put the name for. And then when you put the name, you'll be like, this is for my grandmother, so don't come and pick it. Otherwise, they may come and take it. So you want to delicate the name. The few times I burned it, it's very funny. There's no wind. And I say that when there's no wind, it's difficult to burn the paper items. And later when I light it, there's actually gusts of wind. And then the winds blew up. Very strange, right? And I could sense that two, it's like two, doesn't look like the ancestors' two image. The moment it flies, I have the image. And I say that this is for my grandfather and my ancestors. So please do not take. If you need it, I can give you more. But this is for my ancestors. Don't pick it. Don't take it. So it's like then it comes back down again. Because they can't take it. Because the energy is not as much as me. So it cannot fight for that paper money. Yes, they do fight. There's lone spirits fight for it. So just remember, one warm clothes do not put many names. No, it must be dedicated to a single name and for mentions. Otherwise, you will have issues. So do not write wrongly. Thank you, Master. And another one shares, for example, in Singapore, if you're married, you cannot go back to your home to make offerings. But this Dharma sister in Singapore, they say, what do? Do they go to their husband's house or their own house? So what should they do? You just do your things. Do not seek other people. From your perspective, if you are the daughter-in-law, when you have sons and daughter-in-law, so they are the one. You just do your own merits. Just don't have to share with everyone. Or go to the temple or go to our centers. You don't have that. You just make sure that you do at different timing. That's why during Qingming Festival, you and your siblings, maybe you're not so good. You always fight. Then you try to find out. If they come early, maybe 9 o'clock, then you come at 11. So you come at different timing, but you pay your own respect. And do not fight at the graves. Whatever issue, don't talk about. Don't fight or talk about general things. No, we just pay our respect to the ancestors. And also I'd like to share that Masters has stories on YouTube, many good stories, and a lot of this YouTube stories. You can find some of the lists. Some of them are relating to histories. Some are children's stories. They are very good stories. We just want to thank Masters for allowing us through the stories to increase our wisdoms, to increase our virtues. So where should we find it? You go to YouTube and you click on this and you'll be able to see many of all this audio. The list there. And you can see that these sections that you have the stories by Grandmaster. So this is the latest. And then we just go below. We can look at this podcast. Yuan Liao Fan stories. Zhu Yuanzhang stories as well. A lot of these are historic, renowned historical stories. So the more we listen, or let our children listen to more, you'll be able to help them increase their wisdoms and virtues. And recently, there's another series. It's actually children's stories. It's about 10 minutes. It's recommended for youngsters, for young children. So maybe it can be a bedtime stories to listen to the stories. It's very good. So they will help the kids to grow. So Kunti, as a mother, do you think the children need to listen to these stories? Yes, they need it very much. In fact, when the kids are young, you can provide them with guidance. It's a good time for them to enhance their wisdoms and virtues. In fact, of them, this knowledge are not provided by schools, especially bedtime stories. Because when they have stories from the mother, it feels it's a form of happiness. They will be able to receive the gist of the stories, and they'll be able to sleep peacefully and happily. Actually, in the future, if they want to have a jobs, actually, there are a lot relating to career as well. For example, the Honda. He was the one that started the motorcycle. He went to Europe to participate in race to allow his products to go there. And what did he do? And how from motorcycle, he develops and manufactures car. So Honda's cars are value for money. It is a work from that becomes a world-class brand. So these are very like a miracles business. And hearing their stories, it will be able to help us to gain new inspirations, and it becomes more broad-minded. Maybe they might feel that I want to be like them in the future. Want to have such aspirations? Then this child, he will start to change for the better. You don't have to say, you don't have to continuously to remind him. You'll be able to form his own directions. He will have a firm foundations of his future. So that's why these stories are extremely important. What about for adults? For adults, when we hear some of these stories, you'll be able to help us to face issues with better challenges in life with better courage. It's a form of mental strength, mental push, and confidence, so that we'll be able to face issues and challenges in life. We'll be able to overcome obstacles in life. So what is the purpose of the stories? It is very motivational. So that's why I decided to have this podcast. Hopefully that you'll be able to bring you new inspirations. Well, we have here stories from friends that say, yes, masters, my daughter is 6 years old and she really loves to hear your stories. Yes, we'll continue to have different stories to help for different age groups. Thank you, Master. Well, when you listen to stories, you don't have to look at the image. So you can save your eyes for other purpose. So I'd like to encourage you to listen more. And we have a good news, Master. Last week, we shared that from July the 4th onwards, you will be a Bodhi auspicious day. And today, Bodhi meditation auspicious month. So today, if you go to Bodhi College, you will have a surprise. So all you have to do is to get into that. Someone shared that they received appreciations. What did they receive? Well, not only just instant rewards, they will also receive very quality bonus gifts. Some have the signature postcard of the latest song, When the Hearts Hold On. I received this. I received this surprise mobile wallpaper. It's like the pictures that we see. And what other bonus gifts do we have? We also have a tote bags, the limited edition tote bags. It's really beautifully done, and also Master's calligraphy postcards. Oh, this is such treasure. Those who affinity will receive it. I'm sure many will have such affinity. So gratitude to Masters. So today, is the beginning of the auspicious Bodhi auspicious month. For those who are not the preferred customer, just come in, and you can become a bronze customers, and you will start to receive these promotions and this quality gifts. So during this month, you want to seek the opportunity to claim the instant reward and encourage your friends and families to claim that as well, so that we receive the most auspicious blessing from Masters. So maybe we should share that in there for those golden customers. For those who practice meditation, there's something that you like. You will have the opportunities, whether through face or through online, to see, to learn all our high-level class, a portion of it. So all of you will have the opportunities. Actually, in March, some of you already have the opportunities. Many people benefited, and you've given me a lot of ideas and helped me to strategize going forward the classes. So in the futures, there will be many of such opportunities. So only gold customers will have that. Because what you learned here is high-level class. So these high-level classes will not be available publicly. So this is a good news for you. I just want to share with you as well. So I think we pretty much covered quite a lot today. I'm so sorry that in the middle we had some issues with the online, with the web, but thank you for your patience to await the online during that time we had this disturbance. So let's talk about the next live broadcast. It will be July the 11th, 6 p.m. Asia Taipei time, and for North America time is July 11th, 3 a.m. Wishing you all auspiciousness, health, longevity, and happiness. And see you July the 11th.
让我与您相遇，小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧忧无虑。因为有了